Guess what, everybody? Trumpcare is officially dead. Obamacare is alive. So what happened last night was the Republicans, this was their last-ditch effort in the Senate to do something on the healthcare front. And what they did is they scaled everything back, and they said, all right, forget all the different versions of Trumpcare. There's at least 4 different versions floating around out there, a couple House versions, a couple Senate versions. And what we're going to do is try to get only the things that we think we could rally the troops around to support. So in other words, the thing on the table was called, or people are calling it, a skinny Obamacare repeal bill. So what's in the skinny Obamacare repeal? Well, it gets rid of the individual mandate. So one of the key provisions of Obamacare that kind of is like the glue that keeps it together. Even though, look, the individual mandate is something that I've spoken negatively about in the past because I don't like the idea that the government tells you, like, oh, you have to buy X. Like, no, don't tell me I have to buy X. If you say I need X, bitch, provide it to me. I mean, I'm paying taxes to you. What the fuck do you think this is? So I've had issues with the individual mandate, but just don't forget that is the glue that kind of holds together Obamacare in the sense that it functions in any way, shape, or form. So they wanted to get rid of that, and then also other key provisions were part of it too, like the rule that big companies have to provide insurance for their workers. They wanted to get rid of that. Part of it is defunding Planned Parenthood for a certain period of time, I think for at least a year. So this skinny Obamacare repeal, it's not really all that skinny in what the effects would be on the American people. So the CBO was able to do, a quick analysis of this and break it down by the numbers, and they found that if the skinny repeal were to pass, premiums would increase by 20%, and 16 million people would lose their health insurance. So even though the consequences are less disastrous than going full Trumpcare and getting 23 million more people knocked off their health insurance and doing a gigantic tax cut to the rich and cutting $800 billion in Medicaid spending, even though it's not the full problem here, it would be, I mean, that's horrendous. 20% increase in premiums and 16 million people kicked off insurance. So, it's serious, man. This is something that is very serious. So, what happened? Well, Republican Senators Susan Collins of Maine, of course, John McCain of Arizona, and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska voted against the bill, and it is dead. Dead as a doornail. So after all the years, I mean, the Republicans have ran countless campaigns on the idea we got to get rid of Obamacare, we got to repeal and replace Obamacare, and now there's no hope of it. They could not reconcile the far right of the party with the somewhat far right of the party. So the reason I say that is you had Republicans who are typically from more blue states. There's some effects of this bill that would basically guarantee they don't get reelected if they were to do any kind of Obamacare repeal and vote for any version of Trumpcare. So it's hard to reconcile that with the so-called Freedom Caucus, the Tea Partiers, who basically said, just give me a sledgehammer and I'm going to swing it at this healthcare law, and I want to make it so that Obamacare doesn't exist, and we don't even care if we get anything to replace it. We just want a full repeal. So you can't reconcile those two things, and in fact, they weren't able to do it. And one of the biggest reasons is there is no standard GOP vision of what the healthcare system should look like. It doesn't exist. Now, if you talk to anybody on the left, I'm not talking about Democratic politicians because we all know they're questionable in terms of they take money from big pharma and for-profit health insurance companies, so they're biased and they're corrupt in many respects. But if you talk to any progressive, hey, what's the end-all be-all for healthcare? They'll tell you Medicare for all, like that. It's not even a question. Not even a question. Yeah, Medicare for all. So we have our go-to answer, and to be fair, based on the evidence, so it's not like it's a bad answer. In fact, it's the only answer that really makes sense when you look at every other industrialized nation. They have better healthcare than us. They cover more people at less cost because they have one version or another of a single-payer system. But when you ask a Republican, hey, what's your ideal system? They're like, oh, Obamacare is bad. Let me tell you why Obamacare is bad. No. Okay, I get it. I know what you're against. What are you for? What's your ideal system? Well, you know, what we should do is we should get rid of the lines around the states to allow the health insurance companies to go so you can purchase health insurance across state lines. And we should do tort reform to make sure that you can't sue. And if you do sue, then there's a cap on how much money you make. And we should make sure that the market is free. The market is free. So that's the only answer you get when you push somebody on the far right about, hey, what's your ideal health care and health insurance system? Free market. Okay, but you do realize that we had that system directly before Obamacare. We still have it now with Obamacare. It's just that there are more rules and regulations that the health insurance companies have to play by. Like, for example, protections for pre-existing conditions, and kids can stay on their parents' health insurance until they're 26, and so on and so forth. But back then, it was even more of a free market before Obamacare, and that led to all the problems which required immediate reform. So they don't have an answer. They've based their whole philosophy and ideology on, Obama's bad, we don't like him, he's bad. Except what's the problem with that? You came up with the individual mandate system. It was a Republican system. You don't believe me? Go look at what Richard Nixon proposed. It was an individual mandate style system. Go look at what Bob Dole was proposing in the 90s, an individual mandate style system. Go look at what Mitt Romney, Republican governor of Massachusetts, implemented in Massachusetts, individual mandate style system. So it's your idea. Fucking Newt Gingrich and Chuck Grassley, far-right Republicans, supported that idea as their answer to what the Democratic idea is supposed to be, which is single payer. So they don't have a coherent philosophy. And on top of all that, it's basically impossible for them to balance how much they've sold out to for-profit health insurance companies and big pharma, and at the same time, make sure their constituents don't wipe them out in the next election cycle. You can't walk that path. What's good for the for-profit health insurance companies and big pharma is the exact opposite of what's good for your constituents. So you might be in favor of a bill that knocks over 20 million people off of health insurance and gets rid of protections for pre-existing conditions, and your donors will be happy, but you just pissed off every single goddamn constituent you have. So they're in a corner. It's a no-win situation. And they weren't able to get even when you whittle it down to the bare minimum of the things that they promised. All right, can we do a full Obamacare repeal and put in place this insane bill? No. Can we do a full Obamacare repeal and not even put in a replacement bill? No. Can we whittle down the provisions of Obamacare that we're repealing and get that passed? No. You can't fucking do it because you don't stand for anything. And every time any expert said anything about the provisions in your bill, they go, this is the dumbest thing I've ever fucking seen in my life. And they're right. Now, the Democrats, they need to, go keep your eyes wide open about this shit. I mean, you can't just defend Obamacare and act like that's the end-all be-all, because it's not the end-all be-all. You're defending a system that's a little bit more than 50% in terms of popularity. Meanwhile, Medicare for all, 62% of the American people favor Medicare for all. 77% of the American people say, when you just ask them about Medicare, do you like Medicare? They say they like that. So we know what the Democrats need to push for. Don't just play defense on Obamacare, because that's not enough. And now the Republicans are handing you a golden opportunity so that you set the narrative, you frame the debate, and you can hammer them moving forward on this issue. By the way, Mitch McConnell was crying on the floor last night. Oh, we've tried for so long. I'm a turtle. We've tried for so long to try to get it so that we got rid of Obamacare. We couldn't do it. Oh, what do my friends on the other side want? Do they want a European-style system? Nobody wants that. He was implying that people don't want Medicare for all. Yeah, let me introduce you to this thing called polling. You massive douche weasel. They do. Spoiler alert. And also, apparently Mike Pence. So Mike Pence is viewed as, he's the one who can bring the Republicans together. He can marry the establishment wing with the Freedom Caucus. Well, guess what? Pence took aside McCain. Now, Murkowski and Collins were against it from the beginning. They voted against all the preliminary Like, all the preliminary votes that led up to this vote, they voted against him. So they were clear that they weren't going to be for this skinny repeal bill or any repeal bill to this point. But McCain was the one who was on the fence, who people were like, well, I don't know. And actually, I don't know how much he was actually on the fence. When you look at his goofy-ass speech the other day where he voted to advance the bill, he did make clear in that speech that he wasn't going to vote for the bill if it stayed as is. But people were saying, oh, okay, McCain's on the fence. So Mike Pence took him aside, and he's, trying to schmooze him and get him to come over, and McCain's like, no. There was one point, I was watching it on C-SPAN too, because I have no life. So he goes outside, McCain leaves the floor. Why? He got a phone call. Who was calling him? President Trump. Trump was trying to get him to, at the last minute, flip his vote. He was trying to convince him. Mr. I make deals. Couldn't make a fucking deal. He couldn't do it. And McCain, when they were doing the vote, McCain walks up to the front of the Senate, and they say, Senator McCain. He goes, no, and then he walks away. So it was a pretty funny moment. And as I was tweeting yesterday, I think going on in McCain's head at the time was on a loop when Trump said on the campaign trail, oh, Senator McCain, people say he's a hero. He's a hero because he was captured. I like people who weren't captured, okay? In his mind, probably, because McCain's a vindictive motherfucker. And you say some shit like that about him, he might pull that out at a random fucking time. So, and let's be clear, this doesn't mean John McCain is all of a sudden good. He's not. He's never met a fucking war he didn't like. Every now and then, he's a maverick and bucks the trend and like, oh, he was one Republican who stood up against torture. What a low bar. Like, oh, he's not in favor of fucking torturing people. Wow. What a fucking moral beacon we have here. But yes, on this vote, he was absolutely correct. He shouldn't have even voted to advance the bill, but he did. So there you have it, man. Trump care is dead. The Obamacare repeal is dead. Trump was tweeting earlier today that we need to get rid of the 60 vote threshold. Whoa. What the fuck happened, son? What happened? You and every single Republican under Obama, oh, with 60 votes, you need 60 votes. 60 votes pass anything. 60 votes to do absolutely anything. We need 60 votes, 60 votes, 60 votes. The second these motherfuckers are in control. Oh, yeah, 60, we say 60? 51 is, it's a simple majority. Simple majority makes sense, right? Let's go to a simple majority. I don't know why we'd... So, yeah. But this didn't even clear 50, to be clear. I don't know if Trump knows that or not, but I don't know. I think now he might be worried about the rest of his agenda, so he's thinking, shit, there's no way we're going to get 60 for anything. So let's go down to 50. So Trump care's dead. The Obamacare repeal is dead. McCain, Murkowski, and Collins were the ones who killed it. The base of their party is going to despise them. Their constituents, I think, do despise them already, but they did make it so that at least 16 million more people won't lose their insurance and premiums won't rise by another 20%. So the Democrats need to take this and now, run into the end zone and spike the ball and start screaming about Medicare for all, because we need to have an answer of what we're for, not just what we're against. It's, oh, hey, Trump cares bad. Yeah, we got it. Now what are you for? Medicare for all. Medicare for all. Push for it. Don't stop until we get there, because Elizabeth Warren tweeted last night, oh, the nightmare's over, at least for now. That's what she said after this happened. No. The nightmare's never over until we get Medicare for all. I saw a story earlier today. There's a couple that killed themselves because they couldn't afford their health care. That just happened in America in 2017. So the nightmare's not over. It's never over until we get Medicare for all. Let's move forward. By the way, sign our petition on that, justicedemocrats.com/single payer.